Welcome to the exciting world of ebook cover design with Canva. There's a link below to sign up for a free Canva account. You can definitely do it for free. I will tell you that I pay every month for a Canva subscription and I use it constantly. I love it, but that is up to you. If you sign up for my free course, there's a link below for that as well. There's a free Canva template you can use, or I can just show you here in this video. We are talking specifically about Amazon ebook covers that you can publish to KDP. There's a link below for that too. KDP stands for Kindle Direct Publishing. Per the Amazon website, 2560 pixels in height, 1600 pixels in width, 72 DPI. Dots per inch, because this might come up again, especially if you end up putting images inside your book, that's a different issue. I'll put a link below to Amazon's images inside your ebook requirements. I tend to avoid those inside mine. I really haven't had a need for them, and I sort of like to not junk up my ebooks because Amazon has these fees called whisper sync fees, which don't even get me started on what that means. Nobody really knows for sure, but you can't get out of them. But they increase the more digital crap you add to your file. Like if you add a bunch of images you don't need, it's going to just weigh down your book and it might cost more to deliver, and Amazon may penalize you for it, which I've found the hard way. It's a long story. It wasn't because of images inside the book. It was just something stupid they did. Because this may come up for you again, if not here, somewhere else. Dots per inch, it actually is a print term referring to dots of ink per inch. For standard web, like the lowest resolution is 72, and I'm going to show you what that means in a minute. It's because it takes up less space. Even for images on your website, you want them to be 72 and no lower. And I mean, they can be higher, but really 72 is what you want, because if they're too big, and I can always tell if I'm on a website where somebody's using images that are too big, it just slows down your website. So you want them to be as small as possible, and 72 is like the smallest they can be and still be visible and look good on a device like a Kindle Fire HD, which that's what Amazon is most concerned about. That's when my whisper sync fees went up, because they didn't tell everybody they had added a bunch of new digital rights management crap. But anyway, 300 is the standard for print, including paperbacks or any kind of print on demand. If you do something anywhere else, let's say you decide to have a print on demand t-shirt company or something, what you have to do is upload your own images, and they're going to have to be 300 DPI. And you can even go higher. I haven't encountered many situations where I've had to do that, but if you're doing, sometimes like people will upload images to, I don't know if you ever heard of a website called Zazzle. It's like print on demand fabric. Like you can print your own fabric. Sometimes, I don't know of them specifically, but they would be one of those websites probably that would want a higher quality image. But 72 is all you need here. And really, because some people are sticklers for this, I mean, Amazon says DPI, it's a misnomer for digital only images. There are no dots to be printed, but PPI is actually the more accurate term, pixels per inch, but people use DPI instead. It doesn't really matter. Not a big deal. Just explaining in case it ever comes up for you. This is the main Canva screen that you'll see after you create your free account. Of course, I have a paid account, but yours should look really similar to this. I'm going to go up here to create a design, this purple button in the top right hand corner. What I love about Canva is, I mean, you type in so many things. Like heck, I can type in TikTok. You know, it's going to give me, what it does is it gives you these, wow. They really get specific. E-commerce, TikTok, in-feed ad. I mean, they have anticipated all of your needs. Go up here to create a design. I mean, I can type in practically almost anything. Look at this ebook. Okay, but we know from Amazon it's 1600 wide, 2560 tall. Now, you can do other sizes. What you want to do, really, I would do the ideal, meaning 2560 by 1600. Okay, now when I type in ebook cover, you'll see here that it says 512 by 800. We don't want that one. It actually, the one they're referring to is for a site called Wattpad. I'm not sure why Amazon isn't in here already, but I wanted to show you this. I could either pick this one and resize it after I start editing, or I'm just going to pick this custom size. And I already know it's 1600 by 2560. 2560. And that's pixel, that's fine, create new design. And what's great about that, if you create a lot of these, next time it's going to show up as a common size for you. Okay, so we have a blank page right there. I will caution you about Canva, even with a free account. You don't want to always pick the first thing that comes up. And if you do, you want to modify it a lot, because a lot of other people are going to be using the same exact thing. So beware of that. I'm just going to pick one. And what it does, yep, it resizes it exactly. Same dimensions. Now from here, I would change the font. There's just all kinds of things you can do. Now, I probably wouldn't pick that font. It's because they're bold. They know what stands out. Now, if I add a page, just to give you examples here, the way Canva works, I can always click on one of these, Journey of Life, and these are all free ones. I'm just giving you examples, and you can modify them to suit yourself. You can even upload your own. Before I go further, I'm going to give this a title. I'm just going to call KDP book cover. I'll call it ebook cover. All right. So when I download it, it's going to be called that. So that's a good shortcut if you happen to be working on a bunch of covers at once, like assembly line method. Just know that that's a shortcut, sort of, just because when you go to download it, that's going to show up. See, what you can do is you can modify any of these. You can give it a different font. I will say this, the rule about fonts, you don't want to have more than 2 different fonts per page. Cormorant Garamond me. Okay. Now, you see how it's all, like when I click on these, it shows up here. These are all Cormorant Garamond. Okay, now let me look at some of these other ones. This one is Caveat. Yeah, they actually are using the same font for all these. Okay, Open Sans Light and the Seasons. Okay, this is what I mean. Okay, you see how there's 2 fonts on the page. This one says Open Sans Light at the bottom, and this one also says Open Sans Light, but this one in the middle is the Seasons. That's as crazy as you want to get with your font choices, and you want to make sure fonts complement each other. Certain fonts just don't go together. Okay, I just Googled really fast. The first thing that comes up, most graphic designers recommend 2 to 3 fonts for the entire book. That means the entire book. When they say 3 fonts, they're talking about the inside too. And maybe just like, 2 main fonts and 1 complementary, like crazy, like cursive, fancy font. Although bolder or fancier, your title font should mesh with your author name, interior, and back cover fonts. You don't have to get too deep into this. But yeah, if you want to Google, because there's definitely no way that I can do a whole book cover graphic design class right now. Just feel free to Google. Yeah, you get 1 chance to make a first impression. Bad typography can ruin a good cover. Ugh. Some of the biggest most common mistakes, using text fonts instead of book title fonts. Yeah, if you're new at this, start with the ones that Canva gives you. I give you this website, but honestly, I haven't looked at it. I don't know exactly what they're doing here. I can see that I agree with this advice, but I'm not going to get too deep. Also, a big thing that you need to know. Okay, see how I go down here? Okay, Canva, they don't let you go too much further than 10%. Your thumbnail at Amazon is what counts, really. You want to make it so it stands out even at a small size. And a lot of these you can tell they do. What's bad is when you can't really tell what it is from a large size. And I've tried to explain it to certain authors. I'm like, your book's going to sell more if people can see it clearly from a small thumbnail. Also, something before I go further that I forgot to mention, because I don't really think about it much. Back here at the KDP specifications page, which you'll see below this video, cover art with white or very light backgrounds can seem to disappear against the white background. That means the white background at Amazon. Try adding a narrow 3 to 4 pixel border in medium gray to define the boundaries of the cover. Now, none of the covers that we're looking at here are white, so they're not going to blend in, so I'm not really worried about that. But if that's an issue, if you have a white cover, make sure you put like just a small border around it. I don't have time to get into that right now, but another big thing too, now if you don't like any of these, now what you'll see here is I keep adding pages and then I'll add something new. Before I go on, let me show you. When you download this is how you go to share, and this is where I'm going to show you 72 DPI as well. Okay, if I go to download, I always do JPEG files. I think you can also do PDF, I'm not sure. I know you can for paperbacks, that's what they want is a PDF file. For ebooks though, it says TIFF, which I don't ever see that file anymore. TIFF used to be like an old fax file. I don't know what else they're used for. I'm not even going to look it up. But yeah, the JPEG's great. So, go to JPEG, best for sharing. And you see how it changes this quality to 80? Okay, now if I had PNG, I'm not entirely sure. I believe it might already save it at 300 DPI, like print version, but it doesn't matter. For what we're doing right now, all we want is JPEG. And you don't have to download all these covers. You just download the ones you want. And there we go, it's on my laptop. I've switched to the browser here where I have a free Canva subscription because I want you to see it in case that's what you have. And we go to JPEG. Here it does tell me this, like it says 80. What you do is you select the page that you want. I'm going to select Diabetes Can Be Delicious. It doesn't let me select the DPI. That's okay. 80 is fine. I mean, it's not going to hurt. It's, 72 is the minimum, but if it's 80, it's not a big deal. This one here is the only one that I just completely made from scratch. And it's not the greatest. I took about a whole 5 seconds on it. And I use this same font, Allegria SC. And this one here is, however you pronounce it, Calcium Script. Now, the reason I made this book cover is I wanted to show you something. If you'll notice, see how I made this name pretty big. It's something, if you've never heard of this before, the design principle called the rule of thirds. Now, I'm looking at a website here that is about photography, but really it applies to art, to just a lot of things in the creative world. And I don't want you to get too deep into this. I'm just letting you know why certain design elements are where they are. And you can look into this later more if you want. But it's all about putting, like it says here you can position points of interest such as a head, the I have a pet and the image below. Like, it just kind of, it's about breaking down your image into a grid. Right now, I'm talking about the rule of thirds as it applies to placement of fonts on your book cover, especially author names. I'm going to show you the Amazon store. See how some of these popular books, look, Karen Rose here has her big Karen Rose. Brett Cogburn's is pretty big. There's Nicholas Sparks, of course. Carol Burnett. I like Carol Burnett. The reason I'm showing you this is I just want to make you aware. Click on Karen Rose here. Okay, when I say that the thumbnails need to look a certain way, you look down here in the books in this series collection. Now, some of the big authors, what they'll do is do this big name because they want people to know, hey, it's Karen Rose. Like, people who are looking for more Karen Rose books are going to know if that is Karen Rose. That's why, honestly, it baffles me a little bit. When I started using these Canva templates, I was shocked because, look, if you look at all these books, they don't really apply this. I mean, they kind of do with the title, but you can't really see who it's written by. Now, maybe it doesn't matter. Like, it just seems like more of a vanity thing for authors. It's just something I wanted to bring your attention to. It's something you can employ if you want. Like, if it's a big deal to you to have your name there. And honestly, I kind of think it should be. I think a lot of these covers, like this one here, doesn't even have the person's name on it, probably because it's more of a reference book. But like, I mean, I like these. Like, Canva, it won't let me shrink the image all the way down to see how it would look on a thumbnail size, because what you want to do is make your book covers readable, legible. This is the small Amazon thumbnail. You'll remember earlier when I said the thing about Amazon tells you in their formatting guidelines, make sure you at least put a gray border around it if you have a white background, because it's going to blend into their white background. Unless you want that, there could be reasons why you might want that. Now, a big rule to remember, right along with, don't use more than 2 fonts per page. Make sure your fonts align properly. They don't all have to be in the center like this one, but they at least need to line up. And what's great about Canva and a lot of these programs is that, I don't know if you'll notice, it's hard to kind of see it because I can't really highlight it while I'm moving it, but some lines show up along the side and down the side of the page. It kind of shows you where the alignment is. Like, you sort of want to stay within that. They kind of guide you in the right place. Like, when I take this money hacks back to where it was, right over the 101 ways to save, there's a purple line that goes right down the left side there that shows you that you are aligned. That's what you want. See this? Like, as I move this, like, that line shows up down the center to show me that I am aligned right now. For that to work properly, you need to make sure there's nothing like an extra space here, because it's going to count that space into your alignment and it's going to look really weird. So just make sure you don't add any extra space. You want everything lined up properly. Like I said, it doesn't have to be in the middle. It just has to be aligned in a way that looks right. Okay, so if you have the free Canva account, up here in the right hand corner, create a design, click on that. Custom size, I already entered it here before, so it's 1600 by 2560. Create new design. Okay, I'm gonna just call this KDP. After you see your blank canvas here, you will see templates over here, and some things might show up because my login might look a little different than yours. It might not look exactly like this, but just, you can see my recent search was ebook covers. You want to look for the ones that do not have the little crown symbol, but even that means it might not be completely free, and I'll show you what I mean. I'm going to add this one. It'll automatically add to your canvas over here, and you can add more if you want to have options. I kind of like to keep things in one file. This one, and I can add, like, okay, I can click there once, and if I click again on something, it's going to just replace it until I say add page. And there are also watermarks. Like, some of these, like, the way you can tell this is a premium image, because I'm going to show you, like, number 1, it says remove watermarks, and you're not going to have that with these because these are completely free. Now, even though this one didn't have the little crown sign, the fact that it says remove watermark means that this background image is what they call a premium image. And here's what I mean. When I go to share, download, JPEG, it doesn't let me change the DPI. That's fine. It can stay 80. Okay, let's say I want to download all 4 of these pages. I can pick the one I want to download, or I can do all 4. Now, it says download with Canva Pro, and it wants to charge you $1. Let me show you. And it's going to ask you if you want to sign up for free. Now, the reason it's saying that is because of this one with the watermark. So I'm just going to click on this image. Like, basically I've just clicked on the background image and I've deleted it. So you can replace that with something else. You can even just put blank space or something. For the sake of time, though, I'm not going to put anything there yet. I mean, you can upload your own. You can do whatever you want. You can even just change it to a color. But, you know, if you want a pretty picture of food or something, you might not be able to find it here unless you use a royalty-free picture website like Pixabay, and I'm going to show you that in another session. Since I deleted that image, this time when I go to download, it doesn't give me any problems. It doesn't ask me anything. I hit JPEG, says download, no big deal, it's downloading. So that's just something I wanted to caution you about with the Canva account. There's still a whole lot you can do with a free account though. Because I don't want these sessions to be too long, I'm going to wait for the next one to tell you where to find royalty-free stock photos in case you don't have the Canva Pro account if you want to do this free. My first recommendation is a site called Pixabay, but we'll get to that later. Thank you for watching. Hope to see you in the next session.